good afternoon. Welcome back to Rethink, our Rethink family. We are so pleased and excited today to have Dr. Eddie Connor with us. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, fulfilling purpose. And Dr. Connor is an empowerment speaker, he's a college professor, a radio and a TV correspondent, and a best selling author of 16 books. He's also the visionary behind the Access Identity Conference and the founder of the Eagles Academy. Dr. Eddie facilitates masterclasses on faith, identity, relationships, and speaker training sessions. He also served as the president of the National Entrepreneurs Association of Michigan. We are so delighted. Welcome, welcome, Dr. Connor.
What an honor it is to join you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and that's wonderful work that you're doing. Glad to be included.
Thank you for coming. I have my whole list of questions here this morning because, as I said, I this is one of my favorite topics. I love to talk about purpose. I love to talk about passion and purpose and drive, and I think it's one of the most important topics that anybody can explore. So let's start off by giving a definition to purpose. So we hear a lot, Dr. Connor, about fulfilling your purpose. Find and fulfill your purpose. Can you define purpose for us in this context?
Yes, I think your purpose is really your unique identity. It's your blueprint. It's your thumbprint. It's particularly you being able to answer the question, "What makes me me? Who am I? Why do I do what I do?" Uh, Knowing that you were created for a specific reason, in a specific season, at a particular time in human history, for you to solve a particular problem. You literally are a seed that God has planted, and now it's time to bloom where it is that you have been planted. And so I think purpose speaks to the why. A job is what you're paid for. Your calling and your purpose is what you're made for. And so I believe somebody's waiting for you to become who you are so they can become who they're supposed to be. And it's about tapping into your purpose and your identity.
Brilliant. So your purpose is connected to your identity and it is connected to one of my favorite questions, which is your why you're doing what you're doing. Yes. So
Yeah.
how can we identify our purpose and why is this even important? How can we identify our purpose?
Yeah, I think the identification of purpose really speaks to you doing an inductive discovery. It's you rethinking, so to speak. What is my passion? What really sparks my energy? What wakes me up in the morning? Yes, I'm glad God wakes me up. I know I hit the snooze button on alarm clock, but what really generates the energy and the passion behind what I do? Whether that could be somebody creating, could be somebody writing music, singing, creating conferences, writing books, whatever the case may be. I think it is the discovery of what would you do if there was no money attached to it, because they couldn't pay you enough to do what it is that you do. As great as you are, and as much as you ingratiate people into what you do, nobody could really pay you the worth and the value of what it is, because it took years of what you do to bring this into a 30-minute increment, hour and a half, whatever the case may be, the timetable of what it is. And so I think it really just boils down to what is my passion and really what ignites the fire that is on the inside of me to do what it is that I do without any currency attached to it.
Okay. It's like I always say, I want to do what I could do without being, even if I weren't paid, I would do it, but
Yeah.
still I'm paid. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The benefit is still being paid, but they really can't pay you what you're really worth.
Exactly, Dr. Anna. Can you help us? Because I find sometimes as coaches say things and ministers say things and empowerment people say things, but we don't know what are the practical steps. Can you give us some practical steps to discovering our purpose?
Yeah, I think the practical steps you have to do what Habakkuk chapter 2 and 2 said: write the vision and make it plain. Dr. Miles Monroe said this: vision is purpose in pictures. I have to literally get a picture of my purpose by sketching it out, by writing it out, by actually uh, creating a timetable. Write the vision, make it plain. They may read it, that run with it. Think about this. For a plane to take off, it has to go in circles. And the reason it goes in circles is because it's gaining momentum to take off. A lot of times when our life is going in circles, we want to throw in the towel, we want to give up. But no, it's an opportunity for you to gain momentum. The divorce, it made you go in circles, but it's an opportunity to gain momentum. The negative behaviors and the habits, opportunity to gain momentum. The father wounds, the mother wounds, the trauma, the trials, the triggers, the tribulations, all an opportunity for you to gain momentum. And you writing it, the vision, and making it plain, it literally becomes a plane. When you write it and make it PLAIN, it becomes a PLANE. So that you're able to soar, you're able to take flight, but you have to have a blueprint. You have to have a foundation by writing out, what are my goals? What am I good at doing? What are the challenges that I face? And then also, how do I take my goals and my vision and create an action plan surrounding it? This is what I'm going to do in the next 3 months. This is what I'm going to do in the next 6 months. This is how I'm going to hold myself accountable. This is how I'm going to remain committed to my commitments. If not, everything else becomes ethereal and mystical, and you're wishing and you're not doing, and you're procrastinating and you're wishing on a cloud.
Yeah.
But a plan is not a wish, a plan is an action. And I think it boils down as well. If you believe in it, you're going to actually put in the work to make it happen.
Okay, so we're going from the vision, we're making it plain, and then we're setting some concrete goals for ourselves and what they call the SMART goals, so that with
Right.
times attached and so on, so we can actually walk it out. And I always encourage people, if you're visionary, if you're creative, and you don't like writing, perhaps you can do a vision board or something that you can look back, with your Pinterest board or something that you can see the vision. And as you say, that we make it plain so that you can run with it, and everybody else, according to your destiny, is running with it, and the
Absolutely.
angels and everybody's running with it. So you mentioned something just now. You were talking about divorce, and that's another one of my topics. But how important, Dr. Connor, are things like your relationship and your finances, the health of your body and your health of your mind, towards us fulfilling our purpose? The all the resources and all the other pieces. How important is that for us in achieving the goals?
Yes, I believe how you do anything is how you do everything. It has to have a mindset of excellence or nothing at all. And there's a quote that suggests every one of us has a crown over our head that one day will grow tall enough to wear.
Wow.
Often we think of growth as just physical, but it's also intellectual, it's psychological, it's spiritual, it's mental, it's down those alleys of life, so to speak. Simply because if we're only growing physically, we'll remain grown infants. We'll remain grown boys and girls rather than moving into a place of maturational development. And so I think it's all about doing an inductive study, rethinking, recreating, resourcing who it is that we are, and even reparenting ourselves for what it is that we did not necessarily have. And I think it moves into the place of the accountability, but also the vulnerability. And that is that growth, emotional intelligence. As we just segued out of it, that being Mental Health Awareness Month, but every month is Mental Health Awareness Month. We got to
Right.
do a self check in to see what it is that we are experiencing, what is it that we are doing, what can we improve upon, what are the factors in our life that may be faltering, that we can level up, that we can lift up. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. And so surrounding ourselves with individuals who can provide the right type of guidance and mentorship to us so that we can look at what it is that we have gone through, but also grow through what we've gone through to become better. And I think it's really about holistic development. Some people are just so great financially, but they're terrible in their relationships. They're great in their relationships, but their administrative gifts are lacking. And so I think it is about delegating. It is about mentorship. It's about surrounding yourself with people who can see blind spots that you don't necessarily see as well.
Wow, that kind of ties into what I was just about to ask you
Mm,
about personal development skills, and how necessary is it for us to, you know, grow personal development skills, but also all the other areas of our life. And that's what you are saying, that everything is tied together. So we have to
Yeah.
ensure that we are growing in all areas, spiritually, financially, relationally, all of that. And that this is what will help us towards fulfilling our goals. Yes?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Can you tell us some of the personal challenges? I mean, we write out the goals and we make it plain, but then, as the word says, we have all trials and tribulations. What are some of the personal challenges that people face in fulfilling their purpose, generally speaking?
I think one of the particular challenges is the aspect of doubt. It is being comfortable oftentimes. I think the most dangerous place you can be in life is not when you're walking on water, but when you're staying in the boat. It is the shallow end that keeps our life in such a shallow place because with shallowness speaks to familiarity. It speaks to comfortability, shallow friendships, shallow relationships, shallow ideas, rather than the call of Christ to launch out into the deep, to do something different in order to get something different. A lot of times we want to do the same old thing, expect a different result, but that's straight up insanity. It makes us crazy. You're wrecking your brain. And I think it really speaks to the whole aspect of we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. We have to be uncomfortable with being comfortable. If COVID-19 taught us anything, it is if you don't evolve, you won't be involved.
Wow.
And I think we have to do something different. We have to forsake the familiar. We have to get out of
Mm.
our particular comfort zone. We got to challenge ourselves. We have to be around individuals who challenge us. We've got to look at and read inspiring material. We got to challenge ourselves with the way that we think. We got to think critical in chaotic times. We have to reprocess how it is that we have done things so that we can get to where it is that we're supposed to be. And I think the call is to do something we've never done before so that we can go where we've never gone before. And it is that somebody's waiting for you to become who you are so they can become who they're supposed to be. Here's the question: how long will you make them wait?
Creation is groaning and waiting.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
For the
That,
expectation of the sons. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. And really, one of the words and the words that came out of this pandemic is unprecedented, unprecedented, unprecedented. And as you say, a lot of us were forced to think outside of the box because we were
Mm,
living this comfortable life, and here came COVID and knocked everything upside down. And it taught us, I think, a lot of us that okay, we can do things differently. Like we don't have to go into the cubicle and sit down. We can work from home.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
I, as you're saying now, is that one of the greatest challenging challenges to us achieving purpose is our own self and our own limitations and how we've grown up in our culture and what we've seen and what we've always done. I find that people are scared of change, but
Yeah.
people are scared of change. So it is really and truly, as you're saying, to push past the resistance of the comfortable to get to achieve our goals. And that's, I think, easier said than done sometimes for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, how important, Dr. Connor, I mean, you've been saying it over and over again. I hope that people are listening, is that if we don't walk in our purpose, who we are called to serve will not be served. So, can you just articulate that for us again and make sure that people understand how important it is for us to overcome and rise above the challenges that we are facing? They could be health challenges, relational challenges, financial challenges, but how important is it for us to push through those things and press through those things so that we are truly fulfilling our purpose here on the earth?
Such a great question. I think it comes from the whole aspect that challenges create champions. And you have to approach fear as face everything and run or face everything and rise. And you rise when you come to the realization that The reason you are experiencing giants in your life is because there's a giant in you, right? It is the fact that you can overcome the giant, even though you may see yourself as David. And I had to get to that place when I was battling stage 4 cancer, when my back was against the wall, when my own biological father never visited me one day in the hospital, when I'm experiencing chest pains, when the doctors cut me open after doing a CT scan of the chest and seeing that my cells in my body were growing so fast they could see them growing with the naked eye. Around my heart, my trachea, my esophagus, my voice box, the place I'm speaking to you out of right now, when a tear streaming down my mother's face and she's praying for me, and chemo and radiation was taking the soul out of my body, uh, losing my hair, my self confidence, my self esteem, my will to live. People I thought were praying for me were literally praying on me, sitting on the sideline expecting my demise, and the depression, the mental discombobulation, me wanting to give up and throw in the towel on my own. I didn't want to face the challenge, but it was a mother's love. It was faith in God. It was the fact that she told me, go to Psalm 118:17, you shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord. Telling me that everybody gets knocked down, but a knockdown is not a knockout unless you stay down. You got to get back up again. As Muhammad Ali said, the canvas is no place for a champion. And so being able to fight back and to bounce back from a setback and to understand your test of testimony, your misery is ministry, your mess is a message, your stumbling block is a stepping stone. What God does, he uses your setback as a setup for your greatest comeback. He uses your tragedy as strategy to move your life to the next level. And understanding that you getting the victory is contingent upon somebody else experiencing victory in their life as well. You facing the challenge is a blueprint, is a launching pad for somebody else, because now you have a testimony to let somebody else know I was right where you were.
Yeah.
I didn't give up. I was depressed. I had depression, but I reconfigured the words, the letters in the word depression as
Yeah.
I pressed on, finding the I'm possible and impossible.
Yeah.
And having that mindset is what it's all about, that really catapults you to the next level. So I think it's digging deep, it's seeing the self-determination, it's the fact that God didn't bring you this far, it only bring you this far, and you can move forward by any means necessary.
Wow, that is a very powerful testimony. It touches my heart because I have two grown sons, and you hate to see them in pain, even as adults. You hate to see them struggling with anything. So I think it's important. Your testimony is important because it's not just your story, but it encourages us mothers and people that come alongside people that go through trials to keep encouraging, because look the role that your mother played, so it was your mom, and it was the word of God that kept you going, and also your personal tenacity to keep fighting and pressing through and seeing the other side of it. And I think that these are all important things. So we really need that tribe, um, the people that come alongside and say, keep going, keep going, keep going. And often cases, it's a mother, it's a wife, it's a husband, it's a child, and this is so important to have somebody to keep our arms up when they're falling, to hold up,
So
like,
right.
to keep our arms up, so we keep in the fight. Because as you said, it is not just about us, it is about everybody that we're going to influence. Look how you have gone on to influence thousands upon thousands of people, and God did not waste. I always say to people, God doesn't waste pain. If you've given your life to
Wow.
Christ, He doesn't waste pain. God doesn't waste pain. And you were able to turn your pain into your purpose. And I think that's a very important lesson. And I thank you for sharing that with our audience this morning. How can we help the youth, even as I just talked about my sons, but more so the young men that are in trouble, the young people that are at risk? I had an opportunity to do some coaching with some young men that were at risk, and it so touched my heart. But and I think a lot of them don't know how. They don't even know what is purpose. How do I even step towards the purpose? So, Dr. Connor, from your vast experience, can you tell us, especially with working with the youth, how can we help the youth, and all, not just the youth, but those that are disenfranchised, generally speaking, how can we help them to press on towards purpose and to understand that there is greatness in them that needs to be fulfilled?
Yes, I really believe, this quote that suggest young people are like Kodak film. All they need is development and exposure. And I think what they see is what they will be. Too often times we only expose our young people to athletics and entertainment, throwing a football, kicking a soccer ball, bouncing a basketball, dancing and rapping on a microphone. And we see that as what they always want to be, but that's all we're exposing them to. So I think exposure to doctors and judges and lawyers and inventors and investors and hosts, podcasters and things of that nature gives them a blueprint. The sad indictment is that many of our young people don't get an opportunity to meet a lawyer until they're being sentenced. They don't have a positive interaction with a police officer because they're being arrested. They never meet a judge until they have a court date. And so being able to show them this is what you can do, this is what you can become. Frederick Douglass said, if we build strong children, we won't have to repair broken adults. And so I think it really gets to the blueprint, the genesis of even if I'm not as a parent, as a father figure, as a mentor, what I'm supposed to be, at least I can at least expose them to something that they can become. Because a great mentor, a great father figure, great mother wants their children, wants their mentees to be better than them. And so I think it really is going to be about exposure. Uh, our young people don't do what we say, they do what we do. And so being able to lead, being able to succeed, being able to expose them, being able to place something in their hand is really needed and necessary. I mentor young men all the time, and we use books as a bridge. We talk about literacy. I think every mentorship group needs to have a literacy component. What is it for our young people and our young men, particularly, to tie a tie, be able to shake a hand and look at somebody in the eye, but they graduate out of your mentorship group and they don't know how to read. Readers are leaders. They say the average individual post high school only reads one book in the span of their lifetime. And so, being lifelong learners, understanding the more you don't know, a know it all really knows nothing at all. And so, being quick to absorb information, wisdom, and dispense that and dispatch that onto our young people and showing them the practical steps of how to use it, I think will bode well for us, especially as we're seeing millennials and Gen Zs booming and boosting and going into using social media and technology at a greater rate than ever before.
Thank you very much. And as you were talking, I remember those same young men, and I remember doing an exercise with them and talking about their vision. And it grew the hair on my head because the things that they were
Hmm.
talking about clearly came, as you said, from what they were being exposed to, the money, the girls, and things that you see on the music videos and so on. So I think you hit the nail on the head because it is the exposure to what they don't know, to what they haven't seen modeled,
Yep.
to what they did not grow up in. And sometimes you say something to them and it's like they had an aha moment because they were not aware of these things at all. So I think, thank you for that. I think the key word coming out of what you just said is exposure, and exposure to the right mentors. I can be that, I can do that. And exposure to knowledge through books, knowledge. And it's surprising how many young people leave high school and cannot even read. As you're saying, it really breaks your heart because how are they going to successfully get through life without being able to read? So I think that what you're doing is highly commendable, and you're hitting the nail on the head in what you are advising us to do. And it's not just young people too, it's disenfranchised. You could be 40, 50. There's a surprising people that in their 40s and 50s and 60s that have not been exposed to certain things, and that's why they cannot live out their vision. So thank you very much. There's so much wisdom here. I can't even keep writing. I have to go back and write down all these wonderful quotes and the things that just flow out of you so naturally, and that we're gonna have to pick it apart when we write the article. But I am so
Oh wow.
grateful for you, and I am so grateful that there are people like you on the earth that really have taken, of their pain and made it into a purpose that will bless others. And I mean, thousands upon thousands. So, Dr. Connor, before you go, we don't want to take up any more of your time. Can you tell us how we can reach you and anything else that you want to share about your programs or anything else at this time?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Coach D, and you're coaching so many people locally and globally and nationally all over the world to really step into their purpose and understand that yes, what you may have gone through may have been painful, but it can become purposeful. And so I appreciate you for the opportunity, the space, and the place to be able to share. I believe the revolution not only be televised, it will be digitized. And so I would love for you to go to accessidentity.org. We have an incredible conference that is taking place in the city of Detroit, Detroit, Michigan, USA, Saturday, August the 5th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's going to be all about ideas, impact, influence. I know you have a vision. I know you have a purpose. I know you have a plan. I want to show you how to get there from here. And it's all about connecting kingdom and community, merging ministry in the marketplace, really empowering you to access your identity in Christ, but also empowering you to access your identity when it comes to your mental health, when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to you managing your money and your mentality, work-life balance, so on and so forth. For the next few people who go right now to accessidentity.org and type in the code access at checkout, I'm giving you $50 off on registration. Yes, $50 off on registration. Come from Barbados, come from South Africa. We listen. We got people coming all over America, as well as the UK and Jamaica. And
What?
so, yeah. So, I'd love for you to be there. It's going to be high impact solutions, strategy, structure, substantive information to really take your vision and catapult it to the next level. And then also, my latest book is coming out on June 15th. It's called Who Can Find a Faithful Man?
Oh, praise the Lord.
Really, all yes. Finding
That's
faithfulness
a
to
whole
live, lead,
nother
and love with
podcast.
loyalty.
That's a whole nother interview.
It
We gotta get
is.
you back to talk about that.
Coach D, I'm sure you're tired of hearing about Proverbs 31 all the time. They preach that
Correct.
everywhere. But we don't talk about Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6. Who can find a faithful
Oh,
man? And so
oh.
from podcasts to platforms, from
Mhm.
churches to conferences, we always hear about who can find a virtuous woman. But I think we got to talk about who can find a faithful man. 20
Praise
comes
the
before
Lord.
31. And
Wow.
so it's about, can the man be committed in his character, his calling, and to Christ? If he can't, he can never be faithful in a relationship. And so I want to show men how to tap into that emotional intelligence to strengthen their vulnerability, accountability, and become who it is that they are recall who their God has called them to be. It's not about being Superman. It's about being a
Yes.
faithful man.
I think I'm going to order it for my two sons.
Yes. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Audible. It's everywhere
Amazon.
as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to put all your social media things in the article
Yes.
and on the YouTubes and etc. So thank you so much. And we have to have, there's so many things that we can talk to you about. So we're going to have you back maybe after your conference when you're a little less busy and you've had your rest. But thank you so much once again, and
Oh,
blessings upon
absolutely.
blessings to you and to your team, and all the best. And August 5th, that's my mom's birthday, so I'll remember that day.
Oh,
Is
okay.
there any way for people to
Yeah.
log in online or do any online, or you have to be there in person?
You can stream it. Yes, you can. You can stream it. Would love for you and Balelwa to join us. If you're not able to make it in person, you can join us on the stream, and it's still $50 off as well. And so accessidentity.org. And like I said, I have a early registration deal going on right now, and so you can get in on that using the code access at checkout, and you can get
Access,
$50 off.
access at checkout.
Yep. Once
Okay.
you go to checkout, you put in a
Mm-hmm.
coupon code. It'll say it right there. What's your coupon code? And you put in the word access, and you'll see the discount populate.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Eddie.
Absolutely.
Have a blessed and a beautiful day, and all the best on your health and your family and blessings upon blessings to your praying mom. She's an inspiration for us all.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Connor.
Oh,
Have a blessed
oh,
day.
thank you so much. You too. Have a blessed
All
one.
right. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for viewing. Remember to bookmark our 3 e-magazines, Recreate, Regen, and Resource. Also, follow them on their Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn pages. If you're interested in sharing on this platform, please call or email us at the contact information on your screen. Until next time, all the very best from our Rethink family.